if you want to tell me, like, I can react to your
That
knowledge.
would involve some prior research, Sue, and as you and I and all of our listeners and viewers know, that's not something we tend to do on this podcast. But anyway, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Tell Me Where I'm Going Wrong, a podcast that has been going for 2 years, or just over 2 years, where two exes get together once a week and talk about what's on their minds, what inspires them and what irks them and what troubles them and what brings them joy and happiness. I'm Josh, I'm one of the hosts, and the other host is Sean. How are you?
I'm tired, like we've been saying before we came on.
Girl, you're so tired.
Very tired. Talking about things that irk us. I'm just got something in my hand right now that's just really annoying me.
Okay.
I've got for people who are listening, I've got a £5 note.
Look at you flashing your money around.
Right. I've got a £5 note. I was sat here looking at it before thinking, how bizarre is the concept of money?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that we've allowed ourselves to take part in this facade
Yep.
of money,
Yeah.
like currency, and that if you don't have it, your life is more of a struggle than people
Yeah.
who have it or have more than you.
So much of our validation and our perceived worth is based around not just having money, but having the things that money affords you.
Like,
Right.
so money, do you believe in that saying that money can't buy happiness?
It's complicated. I don't think it can be reduced to such a simple question, because I think having money can give you access to a lot of things that can make life easier to live. But I don't think that just having money on its own is a source of happiness. It's the other things that that the possibilities that money brings that can assist, but I don't think it's money itself.
Okay, Avril Lavigne, why'd you have to go and make things so complicated? But yeah, like I think I heard something this week, someone talking about it. Who was it? It was like a comedian. And do you know, I listened to this podcast called Blocks,
No, I've not heard of that.
and it's about different comedians or famous people coming on the show to talk about their blocks or things that blocks. So like things that are emotional blocks for them,
Oh, okay.
like mental health or emotional blocks.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it is on a whole, it's very interesting. Like they do have some unusual people on with views that differ from mine. But as a whole, I do enjoy hearing other people's takes on how they deal with trauma and stress and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that. And
Who hosts it?
the host is Neil Brennan. He is a comedian. I think his name's Neil Brennan. Oh my God, let me double check I've got the last name right. I know his first name is Neil. It's Neal.
Okay.
And he is a writing and creation partner with Dave Chappelle. So he worked with and helped Dave Chappelle create the Chappelle Show.
Okay.
And Brennan, Brennan.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done a load of other things. He's actually vegan as well.
Okay.
Neil Brennan. So he talks a little bit about that on the podcast.
Yeah.
And he's done all sorts of stuff in his career. I mean, he's the same age as me, actually.
I have a funny story to tell you about a comedian in a second, but yeah.
Oh, okay. But anyway, so these people that come on his show, like I recently really enjoyed the episode with Craig Ferguson. Do you know that Scottish talk show host? He had an American talk show host in the 2000s, maybe. I really enjoyed his like breaking down his blocks or his like emotional torment. But anyway, there was a comedian this week, Daniel Sloss, and he was talking, maybe he's Scottish. Maybe they have a lot of Scottish guests. But he was talking about how money doesn't buy happiness. Money buys security, and then security can lead to certain levels of happiness. So it's like an indirect path. too.
That's what I was saying. Like it doesn't in and of itself equate to happiness, but it does give you a cushion from all the others or a lot of the other stresses and strains of modern life.
Yeah.
Under capitalism, late stage capitalism, if you will, Sue.
But also, like, what about this? What about this old bastard on this money as well? Like, what world do we live in
I know.
that this is what and
Bizarre.
happens? And what Queenie's on the other side,
Mm-hmm.
and they must be making this now with King Charles on it, right? They must be replacing it.
Have you not seen them yet?
No, I'm not that rich to have enough money. Like, I've only got, these bits. But
You're flashing it around now, Sue.
I've got 2 fivers here. That's about all I've got in the world. You know, when people say I don't have 2 of anything to rub together? Well, I do, and it's this.
You got 2 Queenies to rub together.
Do you remember that episode of Peep Show where Jeremy goes to make a sperm donation? And there's no pornography for him to look at.
Oh, yeah.
And so he rummages around his pocket and all he can pull out is a note with the Queen on it. And he like masturbates, and he's going, come on.
We're talking ill of the dead again.
And he's saying, come on, Queenie. But anyway, comedy, it's a very, what's the term? Is it subjective? Is that the...
Yeah, well, tell me about it. See.
What some people like, other people think is the unfunniest thing in the world. Is there any sort of comedian, I know you're going to tell us about an experience you had this week, but is there a comedian that other people, lots and lots of people find funny and you just like, I really don't get it. Like, it's not for me.
Well, I think a lot of the American Saturday Night Live skits I find so unfunny. Terrible. And yet a lot of people must be finding them funny. Like, it's been going for so long. I find a lot of that humor so, I don't know, I don't want to sound like such a snob, but just so infantile and one-dimensional. And
yeah,
that's one. I mean, I don't know. There's probably a lot. I mean, I'm not massively into comedy as a genre, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't go to a lot of stand-up shows. I don't watch a lot of comedy films. Like, it's just not my, smiling makes my face ache. And so, yeah, it's not something I turn to.
What comedy do you find funny though? Like either TV shows or movies or stand-ups. What do you find funny?
That's a very hard question to answer. I think. I think I love a very well-written joke. I love a joke that evolves over time, or a joke that becomes funnier the more you think about it. And I think, I don't know, but then there are also just some brilliant one-liners. Like Hacks, I think, is a really good case study of that mix of slapstick, like one-liners, coupled with much deeper jokes, a million pop culture references, which are used as shorthand to explain a concept that would not be funny if you had to explain it.
But that's unusual for you, Sue, because you are notorious on this podcast for saying you don't know a lot of pop culture references. So what do you do when you're watching Hacks? Do you have to Google a lot of the references?
Sure, sometimes I do, and sometimes I'm sure a lot of them go over my head. But yeah, well, I don't know. Like, I like political comedy. Anyway, whatever. Like, I like comedy, but it's just not.
Are you one of these people that has a list of top? Like, could you name top 5 stand-up comedians that you're into?
Not really. I mean, I can name some off the top of my head that I've seen and I've liked over the years, like Sandra Bernhard, I love. I've never seen Bette Midler live, but I've seen recordings of her live, and I think
Do you think what she does is considered stand-up comedy, or is it like a performance, sort of a different type of performance?
It is very different. But there were elements of it that were stand-up-esque or
Yeah.
stand-up adjacent. Trying to think. I mean, I've seen Paddy Harrison a few times, and she has been quite funny 2 of those times, and one time was not funny or not as
Yeah.
funny.
I
What about
really
you?
love Stewart Lee, and I've seen him a couple of times.
Okay, yeah.
I really like Frankie Boyle, and
I've seen him
Frankie
with you,
Boyle.
I think. He's quite funny, yeah.
And I used to like Margaret Cho. I've gone off her a lot recently, and that's not maybe her fault. I don't think it's my fault. I think it's just
Whose fault is it, Sue?
yeah. Well, I don't know if it's anyone's fault or if it's just we've drifted in different directions. She doesn't really. When I catch her material now, it doesn't really speak to me in a way that it used to. And so maybe I've changed, she's changed, and similar. I mean, Sandra Bernhard doesn't really do a lot of stand-up comedy that I can get to, that I can see. But I also listen to a lot of comedians through other forms other than live stand-up now. So like what I was saying with Neil Brennan and him interviewing all of these comedians on his podcast, that's how the most content I hear from a lot of these people is just through podcasts now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, so much of popular culture is now consumed through that medium.
What comedy show did you go to in the recent week?
So I went to, my friend Susan and I went to see Kristen Schaal at the Roundhouse in Camden. And
do you want to explain to people who Kristen is?
So she's an American woman who has been in quite a few successful shows. I think the first time I remember seeing her was in 30 Rock. I can't remember the character she played, but she was sort of dating Kevin. Kevin? Is that his name?
Your memory is...
Kevin? No, it was not Kevin.
No.
What was his name? Anyway, the usher, not the usher, like the... What was his job?
I'm waiting to see if you can get it.
Oh,
you're on the right you're on the right sound. It starts with a K.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm not going to get it. Kenneth, thank you. I think that was the first time I saw her. But then she's done so many other things like Bob's Burgers. I never really got into that, but she did.
I love Bob's Burgers. I've watched it many, many times, actually. Like, I've seen multiple episodes multiple times.
Yeah. She's so funny in What We Do in the Shadows.
Brilliant.
I've heard her be interviewed on the Trixie and Culture podcast twice. I think she's been on as a guest.
Yes.
And she's so funny. So we went to see her, but my sister's sort of best friend is also a comedian, and she was opening for Kristen Schaal. So
are you allowed to say her name?
Yeah, of course. So Chloe Petts, and she's very, very funny. I've seen her quite a few times, obviously, and she is very, very funny. But so I'll tell you the story, and then I'll tell you about the Kristen Schaal thing. But so obviously we went to see Kristen, and Chloe was opening, and
sorry, did you say this was at the Roundhouse?
At the Roundhouse in Camden. And very, very kindly, Chloe put me and my friend on the guest list. And when we picked up our tickets, we also got backstage passes. And so we went in, we took our seats. Chloe came on. She was very, very funny. Like, the crowd lapped it up. She really was so good. And during her set, she does this joke, and I won't sort of give away the whole premise of the joke or the punchline or anything, but in the joke, she talks about going to see the Lionesses play at the Women's World Cup final at Wembley Stadium.
Yes.
The Lionesses being the British women's English women's football team. And she makes a joke about pretending to be related to one of the Lionesses called Beth Mead.
Yeah.
When she said this line, there was a woman 2 rows in front of me. And when Chloe said the name Beth Mead, this woman looked around and was pointing at herself, like, it's me. And of course, I don't know what any of the Lionesses look like. And before anyone,
sexism.
before anyone comes at me, don't at me. I don't know what any of the men's English football team look like either. Like, I just have no interest in football at all. So anyway, then Beth Mead is like, oh, it's me. And I was just like, oh, how funny that she's here and Chloe's making a joke. And I was like, oh, maybe Chloe actually knows her. Anyway, so Chloe finished her set, people clapping, blah, blah, blah. And I said to my friend, why don't we go backstage, say hi to Chloe, and see if she knows that Beth Mead is here in the audience. So we went backstage, and it was very funny because we were looking for her dressing. We walked into Kristen Schaal's dressing room, and she was like getting ready for her show.
But hang on, how does that happen? There's not someone there to stop you walking into her
I
dressing
know,
room?
it was really
What if
bizarre.
she didn't have a shirt on or something? Or...
Her door was like slightly ajar, so it wasn't like. Anyway, I know it was a very bizarre situation. And anyway, we found Chloe and we were like, great show, thanks for the tickets, blah blah blah. And I was like, I think Beth Mead is in the audience tonight. And Chloe was like, what? And I was like, yeah, like 2 rows in front. Like she was sitting there when you said the joke. She was like, oh, it's me. And Chloe was like, fuck off, I'm coming out. So we went out to the seating, and like the seats were empty. And I said, oh, maybe she's gone to the bar, or I don't know, the toilet or something. I don't know. Oh, and that's the other thing. So because, of course, I know nothing about the Lionesses, I Googled Beth Mead just to see, like, and I was like, oh, yeah, that is her. That is that woman. Anyway, 10 minutes later, so Chloe's sitting there talking, and, like, you know, people in the audience are coming up and saying how much they enjoyed the show. And she's sitting there waiting and waiting, waiting. Eventually, this woman comes back. And I said to Chloe, there she is. And this woman comes up and she looks at Chloe and she's like, hi. And she's got a North American accent. And I said, you are Beth Mead. And she was like, no, I'm the Canadian Beth Mead. And I was like, what's going on? And she was like, everyone tells me I look like Beth Mead. That whenever I'm in England, people always say, oh my God, you look like Beth Mead. And I was like, oh my God. So that's why when Chloe had said the joke about Beth Mead, she'd be like, that's me. And then...
But why would this person in the audience do that? Like, what?
I don't know.
Like, if somebody said I was somewhere and somebody's made a joke about Chris Moyles, I wouldn't turn around and go,
it's me.
It's me. Like, that is such a fucking ridiculous response to have.
Well, I felt like such a tit. I was like, oh my, and I was like,
and what did Chloe say when this?
Chloe was just like, I think she thought it was funny. I hope. And I was like, I'm so sorry.
Did Chloe think that you were making it up, or?
No, I don't think so, because like Chloe was like, you really fucking do look like Beth Mead though. And the Canadian woman was like, yeah, I know. Like everywhere I go, people say it.
Okay. Can we stick a pin in that for a second?
Okay.
Can we just go back to you walking into Kristen Schaal's dressing room?
Yeah. Okay.
What did she say to you? Did she like acknowledge that somebody had walked into her fucking room?
She had like, 4 or 5 people around her. She was getting her costume ready for the show. And we were like, oh, sorry. And I was just like, I'm not, what am I going to say? Like break a fucking leg? Like, and I'm not going to like go and say like, hi. I love your work, not when she's about to go on stage.
Say, oh, look, I'm really sorry. I've come in here by mistake, but could you just give me a little bit of Louise Belcher from Bob's Burgers for a moment, please?
Yeah, I'm sure she would have really appreciated that.
And so what was her show? Was it a traditional stand-up comedy show?
Not at all. Not at all, Sue.
You don't sound very impressed.
I feel... I don't know. I feel really mean. I feel... To paraphrase Catherine Jackson, was that her name? Catherine Jackson?
Like the mother of the Jacksons?
To paraphrase Catherine Jackson via Janet Jackson, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all, Sue.
Well, how about you tell us a little bit of your honest review of the show?
It just wasn't for me. I don't know if it's a generational thing. I mean, Kristen Schaal's, I think, 40. So, although I am 50 now, I turned 50 yesterday, which we can talk about in a second. But it was sort of this absurdist, like, concept show where she was half human, half horse, and she was like trying to find her horse father. And it was just I mean, as I say, like I don't know how to like critique it without sounding like an asshole or really mean, but
Yeah.
I hated it. I would have rather her sit there on stage and like just talk for an hour and a half or
Well,
answer
do you know,
questions or I don't know. It was just not for me. And like Susan, my friend, and I were just like, oh my God.
do
Like,
you think that it wasn't a fully realized show, or do you think it was a fully realized show and you just didn't think it was funny?
I think the latter, because I think she then took it up to Edinburgh. And like people were commenting on her like Instagram posts later that evening, like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is the funniest 90 minutes I've ever spent in my life. And I'm just like, what? I just don't get it. And it's fine. Like,
Were people around you laughing?
not really, no. I just don't think it was that funny a show. Like, it was
Was it meant to not be funny? Was it meant to be sort of whimsical or absurd or
maybe,
thought provoking?
maybe. But I also like found like there's been a few examples. Like, remember I took you to see that guy Kevin something, that comedian.
What's his name?
What's his name?
Kevin Bloody Wilson.
What's that from?
Do you know there's an Australian comedian called Kevin Bloody Wilson?
No. Anyway, whatever his name was, Kevin Hart, Kevin James, Kevin.
No, well,
Anyway,
Kevin Hart is that famous black actor, stand-up comedian.
oh yeah,
Kevin
no, it wasn't
James
him.
is the king of Queens.
Oh yeah,
You're
no.
saying every Kevin except
Yeah.
the one that
His name was Kevin, and he had a last name. It might not have even been Kevin, actually. Now that I think about it, but
Oh,
he
sorry.
was.
Just a little aside. Kevin Bloody Wilson, who was famous when I was a child in Australia, is on a UK tour at the moment.
Oh, there you go. Whatever his name was, he was somebody that I sort of discovered on Instagram during lockdown, and I thought his Instagram videos are so funny. His stand-up show was so piss poor and unfunny.
Yeah, well, you took me to see him at the Leicester Square Theatre, and
yeah.
did we leave?
No, I think we stayed till the end, but we were just
It
like,
was
oh.
so painful to me. It was so unfunny. And
yeah, but I mean that's one example maybe. But a more sort of close comparison is when I saw Patty Harrison, who's an American comedian, and I'd seen her a couple of times before, and she'd been very funny. But then I saw her 2 years ago, I think, maybe it was last year at the Soho Theatre, and it was again this like absurdist concept show that lasted for the entirety of the show, was based around this one concept, and it was just, I don't know, it's not my kind of comedy. Like, I like clever multi-level kind of jokes, or maybe the odd one-liner, but I don't like this like absurdist and like digging in deeper and deeper into this absurdist kind of setup thing.
I don't mind that if it goes somewhere,
Yeah.
and there are payoffs. Like I love Meg Stalter, and I went to see Meg Stalter at the Soho Theatre, and I laughed, but I think a lot of what I was laughing at was my love and encouragement of her.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as great. Like Meg Stalter, when you see her in like Hacks or I don't know what else. What else? What was that show she did on Netflix about living in London?
Oh, Too Much.
Too Much, right? Mm-hmm. There's a certain style of comedy, but she has space in those shows to perform in a style.
I think a lot of her comedy is in her delivery.
Yeah, and to me, I don't know if it's always like this. It's not fair to say she's always like this on stage, but the show that I saw, it didn't flow. Or, do you know, you see someone like Stewart Lee, who has been doing it for fucking 35 years or 40 years or however long. It is so polished and so well done.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always seem over-rehearsed, but it is. And the skill to just make it work like a production. It's like not just a stand-up comedy set. It's like a comedy production.
But I think I've thought a lot in the last, 5 days, whatever, 6 days since I saw the show, and I've thought a lot about the parallels perhaps between comedy and music. And I think first of all, like, who am I to critique it? Like, I don't get up there and I don't do stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And Kristen might be the happiest she's ever been. It might be like, this is the fucking show of her dreams. This is what she's always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And fucking good for her, like, that's great. But to me, it seemed, and it was the same thing perhaps with the Paddy Harrison show, that if they'd only maybe consulted more, maybe gotten a producer to come in and take the good parts and just make it better as a show, perhaps. And maybe they did.
Or like
maybe this is
a dramaturg.
Yeah. And it's the same, I suppose, with music. Like, if anyone gets up on stage and sings a song they've written, fucking good for them. That's a fucking an achievement, an accomplishment in itself, in itself. Like, that's something fantastic to do. But if you want your music to reach an audience and connect with other people, it's probably a good idea to get some feedback and get some input or critique and take that on board.
Or unless you're like a complete genius who,
well,
I can't imagine Prince ever sitting down with somebody and saying,
no.
hey, could you tell me how I could improve this? And for better and for worse, because sometimes he would release albums that were inaccessible to people or to a lot of people. And the same with comedy. I think there are comedians who go and do their own thing for better or for worse.
Yeah.
And that's their prerogative.
Yeah.
And
and I do think that's maybe something, there's something in that, because I think perhaps, Kristen Schaal and Paddy Harrison, maybe they had they've had some success, they've done well. And so they think, I'm going to do the show I want to do. And maybe I'm not going to collaborate with anyone else. Maybe I'm not going to listen to what other people think about it. I'm just going to do the show I want to do. And that's fine. But just as a casual sort of comedy audience member, I just didn't think it was that funny. So,
but also we are in this weird thing, like that Kevin guy that you can't remember his name, who we went to see. We're in this strange situation.
I'm going to see if I can find his name while you talk. Go on.
We're in this strange situation where we connect with people online, but it doesn't always translate to a live setting. So they become famous for talking on a podcast or making TikTok reels or Instagram reels, but it doesn't really translate to the live setting. Like that, being a live performer and carrying a show, whether it's a 15-minute set or a 45-minute set, is such a finely tuned skill that you need to work on. And it's not any bozo can get up and do it. And I mean, I think even somebody like Meg Stalter, I think she needs another 10 years of doing stand-up to really become a hilarious stand-up.
It's Kevin James Thornton, Sue, is the name.
Oh, there you go. So you got the James part right.
Exactly. I was nearly there.
But, and so like that guy, Kevin James Thornton, like he might be funny or endearing online, or you might feel a certain attraction to his content, but that doesn't mean he can stand up and do a half-hour show or a 40-minute show and it be engaging.
It's a very different skill set and sort of set of a different talent to be able to put together a cohesive set. So Chloe, did so well. Like, I think her opening set was maybe 30 minutes, 35 minutes perhaps. And it was so good. It was like a few different scenarios, loads of like comedic elements and something that sort of tied everything together, loads of like audience interaction and banter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like I said to her, like that was really, really good. And not the sad thing, I suppose, but when I saw that we had our backstage passes, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to go backstage after Kristen Schaal's show and say hi and maybe get a selfie, just fan out. But then after her show finished, I said to my friend Susan, I was like, I don't want to go backstage and say hi to her because like, what if she says, what did you think of the show? Like, I'm not going to stand there and fucking say I didn't like it just after she's performed. But, anyway.
Well, okay, let's do this role play then. Like, pretend you were trying to leave, but somehow you ran straight into Kristen Schaal. Okay, I'm going to pretend to be her. I'm not going to do her voice, but okay, let's do a role play and see how you would actually deal with it in real time. Oh, hi, were
What?
you the guy
Straight after the show?
after the show, like 5 minutes after the show? You're trying to get out some door. She's coming out of a hallway. Okay,
Can I just,
hi.
before you begin,
Yeah.
can I just say, I always think that the worst time to give anyone any kind of feedback is straight after they've performed.
Okay, well, I just want to see how you deal with it doesn't have, it can be feedback, it can be lying, it can be whatever you want it to be. Okay. Oh, hi. Aren't you that guy that accidentally walked into my dressing room before?
Oh, yeah, that was me. I'm so sorry. I was looking for Chloe.
Oh, have you been here for the show then?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
did you just see my show?
I did, yeah.
Oh, how was I?
It was so good to see you on stage.
Oh, what was your favorite part of it?
I think probably when you were doing your mum's voice.
Oh, what did you like about that?
I just think you've got such an incredibly comedic voice, and I love listening to you. I love watching you on screen, and even things like where you've been interviewed on the Trixie and Karcher podcast. I think you're just an incredibly funny person.
Oh, and back to the show tonight.
Anyway, I've got to go. I'm so sorry. My night bus is coming. So I really
before you get on the before you get on the night bus, I just want to know: did you laugh a lot during my show?
Sue, don't even. I can't even see. Even now, I couldn't even lie to pretend Kristen Schaal. Like, no, I didn't. I'm sorry, I didn't. I didn't think it was up to scratch.
Like, imagine if you were like to say something like, "Oh, the lighting was amazing. Like, I just really loved what they did with the lighting for your show tonight. I think it
your
really
your makeup was on point.
Yeah, like your shoes. Where did you get your shoes from? They're so cute. Like, I really like those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't like I sat there for the whole, like, I don't know what it was, 90 minutes maybe, and didn't laugh once. But it was kind of like I never like properly laughed, you know.
Yeah. Have you spoken to Chloe since?
No.
Would you be honest with her and let her know that you didn't like Kristen?
Yeah.
Did you know there's a TV show called Taskmaster?
No. Do I? Oh, yeah. And Chloe's on
like
it.
Yeah, she's going to be on this new season.
Yeah,
so it's like, it's hosted by Greg. Is his last name James as well?
James Thornton.
Everyone's last name is James. Like, is it Greg James? You know, he played the headmaster or the head of Sixth Form in Betweeners.
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know.
No, it's not James. What is his name?
I don't know. Robert. John.
And Greg Davies. It's hosted by Greg Davies, and they have different comedians doing tasks, and it's like a comedy sort of skit show / competition show where they do silly tasks. And
yeah, it's a bit Crystal Maze vibes.
I've never watched it, and I've only ever seen clips on social media, and what I've seen has never encouraged me to want to watch it, although I like a lot of people who are involved in it. Like, I actually like Greg Davies a lot. I think he's a really funny guy, but very interesting. But I don't think I would watch it. I might watch one episode to see Chloe and just to see what she's like and what she's about. But that's nice for her. That's kind of like taking the next sort of step in her career, getting on some
it's
yeah. You know, I mean,
she does a lot of she goes on a lot of like what do they call them? Like current affairs programs, like panel shows. Like Have I Got News for You? Yeah. She goes, I don't know, I don't watch them, but she goes on some sports shows as well and talks about football and stuff. But yeah, it's great to see her doing well. And I mean, in my mind and in Susan's mind as well, who I went to the show with, she was way funnier than the headline act. So,
okay.
Anyway.
So we mentioned earlier in the show that you've just turned 50 years old. So at time of recording, your birthday was yesterday.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And so, how do you feel? Any different?
I feel tired and hungover, Sue, is how I feel.
You know that every time we record this podcast, you say you're hungover.
I wasn't hungover last week because we delayed recordings because I was hungover when we were supposed to record. But listen, I've had a lot of sobriety in my life. I've also had periods of substance abuse. And if I choose to have a few drinks a week, I choose to have a few bottles of wine every couple of nights. No, I'm kidding. I don't think it's that bad, Sue. Don't be all moralistic and judgy.
So anyway, I hosted Queer Vegan Disco last night, and you came along, and with a bunch of other people that we know came along and danced, and our friend Phil Marriott DJ'd and played some really fun music, and you celebrated your birthday there. And so I thought we could just give a few shout outs to some people who actually listened to this podcast,
Or
who
watch
also
it. Yeah.
or watch it, and also came along to the disco.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, Theo, who is one of our, I suppose, most regular and like
Yeah.
long-standing
Yeah.
consumers of the
Theo,
podcast.
along with Helen, probably our two longest.
Well, Helen wasn't at the disco, but Theo was.
She wasn't there, but Theo was.
Ash, I don't know Ash's last name, but he is I don't know if he listens to the podcast, but he has followed me as Fat Gay Vegan online, and he came along and said hello and danced with us. Also, who else were we speaking to?
Well, we met Dan and Orlando. It was lovely to meet them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it was a very nice evening. I had several glasses of wine.
Well, also some other friends of ours were there, Ash and Stephen. And Stephen said to me that he's been listening to the podcast, and that the last few episodes he started listening, getting into it, and he's been playing it in the house. And Ash told me that when he's listening to it, she's in the kitchen doing their meal prep, and she's shouting out and arguing with me and screaming back at the podcast to my point of view. So a shout out.
That sounds so very Ash.
A shout out to Ash and Stephen. And also, Stephen came up to me on the dance floors last night and said, I'm really enjoying the podcast. Maybe he didn't say that. Maybe he just said, I'm listening to the podcast.
So I love everything you do.
And he said, can you explain to me what this Sue thing is that you and Josh always talk about? Like, why do you always call each other Sue or say Sue all the time? We have explained it before on the podcast, but because Stephen is a new listener, only in the last few episodes, we probably need a Sue recap, don't we?
Yeah, we do. So, Sue, would you like to explain? Do you want me to explain?
You can explain. I'll pipe in if I feel I need to.
Okay, so Sue, there's a play, which was turned into a film. It was written by Mike Leigh. I'm looking at my notes now. It was written by Mike Leigh in the 1970s, British play, and it's set in a living room, very 1970s theme, set in someone's living room, called Beverly. The host couple are called Beverly and Tony. No, Beverly and, is it Tony?
No, isn't Tony the neighbor?
Tony's the neighbor. No, what's Beverly's husband called?
I can't remember. Anyway,
Beverly is really the main character, and in the original play film, she's played by Alison Steadman. And Beverly's hosting a party for her neighbors because one of her neighbors, called Sue, her daughter Abigail, is having a party next door. It is so funny. Like, it is so brilliant. And
do you think it was meant to be funny at the time, or do you think it was meant?
Oh yeah, no, it was. It was so well done in that really. What's the word? Like, and it's like kind of the difference between maybe American humor and British humor. British humor is hilarious without seeming like it's trying to be hilarious. Whereas I find things like Saturday Night Live, it's trying so hard to be funny, it's just not funny.
Well, there's a pathos to it, and it's camp, and there's, to me, there's a lot of sadness and in British comedy.
Yeah,
and
like, I think that is one of the key elements to brilliant comedy, is that comedy is a trauma response, isn't it? Comedy is the response to trauma. And so, like, some of the best comedies, like Fleabag, which is really all about somebody losing their best friend.
Well, you think of all the UK comedy shows that we've enjoyed over the last few decades, like Peep Show, in-betweeners, dairy girls, anything like that. There's so much darkness to them, even when they're the most slapstick comedy and vile comedy.
Sue, we're going off on a tangent. We're not explaining to Stephen what Sue's all about.
Well, your explanation is very long-winded, I must say. You could just say there's a...
How unlike me. Well, why you explain it then?
Okay, so there's this film for television...
All right, Sue.
There's a film for television play where one of the characters says the other character's name a lot throughout the play, and the other character's name is Sue. And it's quite comical the way it's delivered in all these different ways, like another drink, Sue, like all right, Sue. And it's so funny. And so a group of our friends who were all obsessed with this 70s production of Abigail's Party that was filmed for TV all have watched it multiple times, and we all call each other Sue. And even if we were in a group of us, if there were 5 of us in the room, we would all be calling each other Sue.
It's like when we're with other Sues, it's like it's interchangeable with the word mate, like, do you want another drink, mate? It would be like, do you want another drink, Sue? Or like,
But if you said to me, oh, do you want another drink, Sue? And I'd say yes. And then you were in the kitchen and there was another one of our friends with us. I'd yell out, oh, Sue also wants a drink.
Yeah.
Even though you've just called me Sue.
It's quite hilarious when there are lots of us together. But
so anyway, it's a very long-standing, hilarious tradition. And as we've sort of our Sue friend group has splintered a little over the years, other Sues have been brought into the fold. So we've gone off and met other people, and we've had to explain why we say Sue all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's like if I'm in a very heightened or dramatic or camp or comical situation with someone, my instinct is to call them Sue, even if they don't know about this tradition.
I know.
And it's very hard for me not to say it.
I have to really try hard not to use it when I'm talking, like last night, especially when I've had a couple of glasses of wine, Sue, I'm just like, oh, Sue, like if somebody tells me something scandalous, I'll be like, Sue. But then I'm like, oh, no, it's not. They're not. If I call them Sue, they'll be like, well, and then the funniest thing, or not the funniest thing, but the most uncomfortable thing is when you meet people who are called Sue.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to like try and say it, deadpan, like not Sue, like just their name.
And every time I go past, there's a chain of charity shops in the UK called Sue Ryder. Every time I go by one, whether I'm by myself or with someone else, I'm like, Sue, as I go by it. I read it and I say it out loud to myself.
I've got a photo of, remember when we were living in Leeds and my sister came up and we took her to York for the day, and I've got a picture of her outside a Sue Ryder charity shop.
And if one of us from the Sue group sees something in the wild that says Sue, whether it's a T-shirt or somebody's license plate, like a personalized license, we'll take a photo and send it around to all the Sues to say, oh my God, like Sue in the wild.
So anyone can be a Sue. Like it's, we don't hold any sort of like ownership on it. I'm going to put the link. I believe Abigail's Party is available to watch on YouTube, so I'm going to put the link in the show notes if I can find it. So whatever you're doing now, if you've not seen it before, stop watching this and go and watch that.
You've only got 2 minutes left of the podcast, so maybe finish and then go and watch it. But
it's so.
But also, like, have you got one? I don't know if you've got one near you. Remember, you got those coasters made.
Oh.
And so Josh had these coasters made.
Give me 1 second, Sue.
I think they're like plaster or something. And it's a photo of the character Beverly from the filmed for TV play of Abigail's Party, and saying another drink, Sue. And there you go. Josh, for anyone viewing it, so... And not listening but viewing it, Josh has one of the coasters. Is it made out of cement or plaster or something?
I don't know what some sort of like cement-like material.
Yeah. So another drink, Sue. Yeah. So that's Beverly.
That's Alison Steadman playing Beverly.
And Alison Steadman used to be married to Mike Lee, who produced Abigail's Party. Did he write it or just direct it?
He wrote it.
So it's it's an iconic piece of pop culture history. A lot of people, when they were in high school in the UK, had to do the play.
School, as we call it. Yep.
Secondary school would either have to read and do reports on the play or be in a school production. I don't know how they made kids be in a production of that, because all the adult characters are just drinking the whole...
and smoking.
Drinking, smoking, and listening to Demis Roussos.
There's a lot of like sexual tension, and it's honestly it's a brilliantly written and performed piece of work.
Maybe we should do a screening of the made for TV, film for TV.
Yes.
Production of it. We could do like a pop-up screening, and we can invite people if they're interested.
We asked Kristen Schaal if she wants to come and introduce it to you.
Well, Sue, not after she hears your scathing review of her theatre production.
I'm sure she's going to spend 45 minutes listening to me crap on about it, but yeah.
Okay, Sue.
I'll see.
That's quite enough out of you, Sue.
All right, Sue. We should wrap up, but please do subscribe wherever you're listening to or watching this podcast. Again, it's lovely to see some of you at the Caramel event last night, and we'll be back in your feeds this time next week. Any last things?
Well, you should tell people they should come along to your the third anniversary,
fourth anniversary, this coming Sunday. This podcast is out on Tuesday, so. On Sunday, come to the Cock Tavern in Kennington. It's the 4th anniversary of the Queer Open Mic, so come and celebrate. There'll be some prizes and lots of great acts to come and see. You can follow me at Josh and the Jumpstarts on Instagram if you aren't already.
And you can go to fatgayvegan.com if you've got nothing better to do.
Mm-hmm. All right, people, until next week, take care of yourselves, and always remember, I've got very beautiful lips.
Another drink, Sue.
Another drink, Sue.